guess I'll start. Even though no one's here, it's ironic that I'm going to talk about the principle of cause and effect. And there's no one fucking here. That's cool. That's cool. You all do you, right? Do you? Do you remember when you first asked why? Cause and effect. Straight up cause and effect, y'all. Let's pull a poem. Oh yeah, that's the one. So, y'all are Randall, by the way. Fucking Randall can't handle. Yeah. This shit's gonna cause some self-reflection. If you can actually fucking handle enough not to click away. Or to click on. Full on live, bro. Fucking prime time. All y'all are fucking Randall. Anyway, rolling in, then reflecting, absorbed, re-emitted, step up, step down. Where would waves go without constraints? Would they not ever break without a shore? Does not any excitation result from boundary intersection? Where does the shore end and the ocean begin? Is the surface where starts the sky? Or maybe all things are waves that break on their own shores. Yeah, that's what's up. So, this is just gonna have to be a fucking video that I post, I guess. That's cool. That's cool. So this is about the principle of cause and effect. In the podcast, I talk about it in episode 8 and episode 22, I think. 22 or 3. Polarity, right? Everything is polarity. Like every fucking thing. So if you have a comprehension of what polarity is, right, then it's, I'll straight up just say it. Oh look, hello. You guys missed the poem. And my shaming. So that's good. You can watch it later when I post the video. If you're not Randall, because you know what Randall does. Randall can't handle. It's been raining like crazy here, but so I wasn't gonna do the standing, but I'm gonna talk about the principle of cause and effect. And if you guys, right, if that's you, Mark, Mystic Mark, then you know, right, principle of cause and effect, and the principle of polarity, right, everything is polarity, right, people talk about duality, but duality is polarity, and people talk about being non-dual, and that's just a buzzword, you know. There's understanding, there's overstanding, and there's innerstanding, right? That's what I've discovered now, is instead of using the word comprehend, right, in replace, you know, to replace understanding, because you're like standing under, you know, and then overstanding, you're like standing over. Innerstanding, it's all innerstanding, right? So you got to go inside. and stand inside. But yeah, polarity is unity in disguise, because every polar relationship, one pole requires the other to exist, and vice versa, right? Do I have to go into it? Like, up doesn't have a meaning without down, right? Light doesn't have a way to define it without the absence of light, or dark. And so the principle of cause and effect, right, is another polar relationship. Cause and effect is a polar relationship. They can't exist without each other. And so cause and effect it indicates the passage of time, right? There is a cause, then there is an effect, right? And that, but since they're a polar relationship, right, every effect has its cause, and every cause has its effect. And so you can basically follow the chain of events, right, theoretically all the way back to the original cause, right? And what is that, right? And it's like going back in time, basically, to the original cause. And it's a cause and effect is like an if-then statement, right? All y'all who studied BASIC in high school, and then, right, I did BASIC and then Fortran and then Unix, right? And now it's all of this, JavaScript, but still have if-then statements. So if this happens, then this happens, right? If this, then that, right? Cause and effect. It indicates the passage of time, right? But since they're a polar relationship, right, there's retrocausality, right? Every effect has its cause, and so you can't separate an effect from its cause. And since you can basically follow the chain of events all the way back to the origin, right, to the origin of whatever this is, then the passage of time really doesn't really have that much meaning. But causal intent, right, is willpower, right? And we all talk about will like it's like something good, and perhaps it is, but it's causal intent. If I do this, then this will happen, right? Right? But there's the inverse of that, right? And I made these coins. And on them they say, all from one, indivisible, ever-present origin, and acausal intent. And so if we talk about an effect creating a cause, right, then that's acausal intent, right? That removes will from the equation, right? It removes identity, it removes a psychological sense of self from the equation. You guys following? So that's what we're talking about here, and that's what I'm trying to bring across with, like, if you have watched any of these other videos, it's like I'm trying to show you how to do Qigong, which is to cultivate an acausal intent, right? Which to cultivate flow state, right? Which is to cultivate your being operating at your optimum, right? Because when you are in flow state, you are performing at your highest. And yet, if any of you have ever experienced it, like skiing, when you're shredding the hardest, right? You're not there, right? Soccer, right? You can just march through a defense because you know what's going to happen. But as soon as you start looking at yourself and thinking you're awesome, right? Then that's when you trip over your own shoelaces, right, Garrett? And so this is what I'm talking about, right? So the principle of cause and effect and ever-present origin. This is how we It's fucking radical because this is how we save ourselves, right? But if we have an intent, right? Right? If we have a causal intent, if we set out to save the world or to save anything, right? Because we're like really that close, you guys. You know, the urgency is high, right? But if we set out to prevent anything from happening, we will only we will only it only creates it basically invokes the cause and effect principle, the passage of time, the forward passage of time, and for every cause there is an effect. And so if you set out to do something, then you're just going to create a ripple, right, that is a polar relationship, right? And so it'll be canceled out by the rhythm of the response of that. And this is why we can't seem to fix, right, our culture. This is why we march ever forward and repeat the same patterns over and over again. So how do we do it, right? So if this, then that, right? But what about that, then this, if? Right? It's like the retro causality. We begin with the effect and create the cause. And so this is removing will from the equation, right? The causal intent is will, is a psychological sense of self. I did this. I fucking did this, right? And that's the mistake, right? That's the mistake right there. Because then we create a response from the universe that is the inverse of that, basically. It's the principle of cause and effect. So I know it's hard to grasp, y'all, but a causal intent, right? So that's like, as I was explaining, right? When your sense of self is not present, when you're not aware of your sense of self, is when you're at your most effective, right? And so then you are basically you are in effect creating a cause, right? It's retrocausality, and it's as if it was always meant to be, you know? And that is the definition of ever-present origin, right? Ever-present origin. If we follow the chain of events all the way back to the origin of whatever this is, that's what I keep saying, you know, the universe or whatever. That's the origin, right? And so when we have a causal intent, right, we remove our sense of self from the equation. Then whatever we're attempting, as it happens as if it had already ever been there. You know, it's like we rewrote the code from the beginning. And so that's what Qigong does. That's what it trains you to do. To reside in the state of nothingness, you know. So what we have to do in order to save ourselves, right, because there is urgency that I keep saying, is to do nothing, right? This is what I've talked about in several ways, and I get kind of excited. You know, what is the effect of evil, right? What is the effect of evil, right? It's good. Right? What is the effect of good? Evil. Because it's a polar relationship, right? And they just rhythmically cycle back and forth. Just like any pendulum swing, you know? And so when I say a causal intent, that's the definition of being on the fulcrum. Instead of swinging on the pendulum, you're actually where the chain is attached, right? That's where you want to operate from. And that's an operation positioning that is absent of a psychological sense of self. And so in our culture, we can't handle that fucking shit because we all want to take credit and we want to like get accolades and we want to have a comparison, so that we know that something happened, or that it was good. Someone has to lose in order to feel like you won, you know. And but when you have these peak experiences, when you are in flow state, when you are in the zone, right? You know that it couldn't have happened if you were actually present. you know you know what I mean? You guys following? So yeah, it wanted to come out better when I was envisioning this, but I just let it try to flow out, because if I try to like turn it into something, then it falls apart. So I hope it's like hitting home a little bit, right? And I like the idea of the backwards if-then statement, right? So causal intent is the force of will, right? If this, then that. If I do this, then that will happen, right? But what about that? Wait, if this, then that. That, then this, if. Right? So it's ever-present origin. If you are not there, then it's like as if it was always meant to be, as if it was part of God's plan. you know? And I say that phrase, at the risk of sounding a certain way, but that's not what I'm saying, right? If you've listened to the other things that I've talked about, the universe itself is mind, right? And it doesn't have, it's not human, it doesn't have these human sensibilities, these human measurements, right? It is just mind, right? And we are part of that. And so the whole unfolding of it, right? The appearance of the passage of time from the beginning to where we are now, right? Is an illusion, right? Because all time exists at once. So when we try to take credit, right? When we hang on and try to preserve our identity, that's when we get into this, basically, this time loop, right? Where it seems like there's shit happening, but it's only in this like little sphere, and the pattern is always continually repeated. And this is, to my mind, the way to describe the wheel of karma, our whole society, right? Our whole culture for 6,000, 10,000 years, right? We've been just rolling in a wheel, and so that the false polarity that we are operating in, right? This good and evil polarity, right? That's what runs the whole fucking thing. And so the fable about the Garden of Eden, right? Eating from the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? It's not the tree of knowledge, right? Apparently that was somewhere else in Eden. But it's the knowledge of good and evil. Basically the knowledge that fucking good and evil are a polar relationship, right? And one defines the other. And so one actually permits the other to exist. And so, yeah, evil, the effect of evil is good, and vice versa. And so when we think we're operating from a moral position, right, we're actually paving the road to hell. And people can't handle that when I say that. It's moral relativism, right? Spiritual bypassing. It's like, that's spiritual bypassing. That's fucking ironic when you say that shit to me. This is the thing, right? This is Wu Wei. This is the Tao. This is everything that is the message of what I'm trying to deliver. And it's fucking simple, right? Stop trying to hang on to who you think you fucking are and just be. And you will find that you will be delivered, right, everything that is required. So you have an intent, but you don't have a cause, right? The intent is to return to the natural rhythm, right? But we can't do that by joining into the game, right? Which is this artificial rhythm that we have going, right? We'll just join in again. And that's why, you could say that spiritual guides or whatever, they can't fucking tell us what to do. Or they get born into the system, Then they have to choose a body, and then they have to go through the karmic cycle. And that's what we are here doing, right? That's what we're doing. Like, we're earth angels, right? We're here to fucking figure this shit out, and it's not an individual thing. If you figure it out and you ascend and you don't come back, great, see ya. Yeah, what did you get done? Nothing. Go enjoy your communion with all that is. That's fucking fantastic, but all of us are still down here, right? Still trying to figure it out. And it's not that hard to figure out. I'm saying it right now, right? A causal intent. Stop trying to fucking decide or define who you are, right? By what is external, right? You get an inner standing, right? Comprehension from a point that's inside. So yeah, ever-present origin, always meant to be, the return to a natural rhythm, right? That's what was meant to be. And so we have that intent, but we don't apply that as, right? So that's the fucking effect, right? That's the effect, right? We do this from in the inverse, right? Not will, right? Not will, right? Will is actually a limitation, right? All of these people who talk about will, like, these Navy SEALs and shit. Yeah, you have indomitable will, but so the fuck what? Let's see if you can figure out how to not have that, right? And still be effective. Yeah. So, again, right, this practice, it's not, why did I say that? It's not a practice, because practice implies a passage of time. If this, then that, right? You begin with the effect, right? That, then, this, if. That, then, this, if. That, then, this, if. So, yeah, you can actually turn your body into its highest potential, right? And that's the intention, right? But if you set out as that, as from a point of willpower, then you've already lost it, right? And it's the same with meditation, right? If you set out to meditate, then you won't be able to meditate. And that's why this is a good thing to do, because it puts you in your body. The body is the bridge, right? The body is the bridge to the unseen, to the transcendental. So it's not, I'm not like a fitness guru, I would never want to be that. I don't want to be anything like that. I just want to be the effect, right? Not the cause, the effect, right? Retrocausality, ever-present origin, as if it was always meant to be, right? You were always meant to be your most badass self. And if we all do this, right, then we can return. And I just said that. So it's like, I just fucking fucked that shit up big time. So you get how hard it is, right, to actually talk about it. So there is a sense of urgency, right? But that, then, this, if. That, then, is this, if, right? That, then, this, if. That's like how we manifest. We begin with the effect, and we remove ourselves from the equation. Right? So subscribe to the channel, the YouTube channel, which is MC Trebuchet 99. But you can just search my name, but put quotes around my name. Or just find the link from my previous fucking posts on Insta. And so I basically give you the instructions, right, of how to stand. And that's it. There's nothing to be done, because as soon as we try to measure what is to be done, then we've lost it, right? And so, as above, so below. The micro and the macro are connected, right? We are at once individuals and the collective at the same time. And the intent, right? The what was always meant to be is that we are in operating in the natural rhythm, as opposed to the artificial rhythm that we live under right now. And that is basically the definition of living in sin, of being born into sin, and they've just bastardized that, right? Sin just means apart from nature, apart from all that is, apart from the most sacred, right? Which is everything, which is all of us together and everything else all at once. Yeah, so you do that, right? And then the idea is that I can go live and we can do it together. And then that will be like this massive connection, this neural connection, right, of all of us in this meditative state all at once. And again, like, meditating isn't something that you do right in the morning, right? It's the state you want to be in all the fucking time. Right? You want to be in the optimum operation. And that's how you are in a state of acausal intent, where you actually are walking the razor's edge. But you don't have to, like, keep your balance. The razor's edge becomes infinitely wide. And then we all do that together, and whatever this is, that is like this, our culture, then the unnatural aspect of it will just kind of dry up and die, and it can happen right now. There's no if then, right? That then this if. So retrocausality, ever-present origin, as if it was always meant to be. We rewrite the code of the universe from the beginning. And that's impossible to do if we actually think that we are doing it, right? Because it's all of creation doing it at once. And that's why I'm fucking so excited, and having butterflies, right now. And just this knowing, and I've talked about how belief and opinion are the same thing, and everyone wants to honor everyone else's beliefs, right? And that's whatever, but that's just the same old pattern, right? Knowing, right? There's this knowing, right? And knowing is actually the faith, right? Belief is not faith. It's this knowing that we are all one, and that statement is, cliche, and it's been overused and applied in the incorrect fashion, and it's all granola and flowers, and that's not it. It's like actually it's not all fucking hippy dippy shit, this New Age bullshit, right? The New Age movement is a co-op, right? It's been co-opted. It's like it doesn't do anything. So yeah, I mean, I could go on for hours, but the idea is, right? You enter into your body, right, by doing this, and when you do it, the qigong standing, that's all you got to do. You by default enter a meditative state without trying, and that's the whole magic of it. And this whole thing is magic. Everything is magic. That, then, this, if, right? That's magic. Right? Retrocausality, ever-present origin. It's fucking magic. So, yeah, and when you're doing it, and when you breathe out instead of collapsing, right, that's when I feel the most joy, right? And that's when my spine is actually extending, and I'm getting taller, and faster, and more intelligent, and stronger. And that's the idea. That's what we all want to do. So again, I just show you how to do it, and then we can do it together, and we can talk about stuff. I will continue to talk on the channel. The podcast is kind of complete. 23 episodes with several interviews. I want to actually do one about gender, the principle of gender, which is another polar relationship. One can't exist without the other, and so you can see, like, the impossibility of talking about that in this day and age, right? It's been suddenly you're dangerous if you talk about it, and so I'm gonna fucking talk about it because I don't give a fuck. And I want to try to get a female guest, right, to talk with me about it, someone with the right background. So I've got a few candidates, but no one's really bit yet. So if you have any ideas, or if you want to come on and talk about it, like, then let's do it. Do the thing. Reach out. Send me a DM. But, oh my God. So yeah. That's it. The uncoin, right? Because we are all infinitely valuable, right? There's no fiat currency, right, without us, right? There's no value without us. Value doesn't exist without us. So, like, coins are, your coin is like, it's meaningless, right? Unless we all are permitted to be our truest and highest self, And this, right, so what I'm going to teach you, right, on the channel is not just Qigong, but the Merkaba meditation, right, which is how to activate your cosmic power. And it really does turn back the clock, you guys. Like, it stops that shit on your body. And so that's again, right, the being the effect, right? That, then, this, if. Being the effect, right? Retrocausality, ever-present origin. So that's what's in store, right? If we can get 50 fucking followers, subscribers, the Merkaba meditation. And so this is the female coin, uncoin, the anti-coin, right? You don't exchange it. It just, if you have one, then you know that you're the value, right? You know thyself. And this is the geometric energy body included in our toroidal energy body, right? When we know this to be true, this is objective truth, right? Objective truth. right? We've all had these experiences where our energy body picks up signals, right? And if we are sensitive, then we can actually be aware of it instead of walking around all turned off, our energy body in idle or off, completely off. So it turns it fucking on, And I could just keep going and going and going, but all from one, right? Not one, not all, whatever the inverse of that. I'm fucking dyslexic, but yeah, all from one, indivisible. Like, we are not dividable, right? We are not atomized, as if, like, the way that we are now in this culture, right? Industrial revolution turned us all into specialists, and we don't know what the next person down on the assembly line is even doing, right? That's not how we are intended to operate. So the effect, right, that I've visualized is an infrastructure that actually permits us to be our natural selves and to be in alignment with nature and not give up our technology, like actually use it in a way that's in alignment. It's possible to do, and to think that technology is, right, yeah, it is corruptible, but anything is. So I can't believe I've talked for so long, but I was gonna do Qigong, but it's dark now. So you just have to go to the channel. That, then this, if. Right? Be the effect, right? As if it was ever present from the beginning. That's the idea. But the reality is, right? It already is. It already is. So, yeah, I'm gonna go live again in the morning, just like I've been doing for the last 7 days. Today I went at 8 because I couldn't this morning, but it was good, I think, to invert the timing, to maybe get some of you when you're more able to sit down instead of like getting ready to do your work. Yeah, ever-present origin, y'all. So tune in the morning, we'll do it together, and then we'll move this over to the YouTube channel. And yeah, love you guys. Talk to you later.